Hello, all. Good morning for those who made it. It was a hard struggle this morning. It was kind of epic, but yeah, it's something to remember, if you do actually. So this will be my last presentation on this event. I was looking for something that could, talk a little bit about the kind of the past 10 years that we've been working together with Nick and SSI. We are a design office, but we've been through a lot also, implementing ShipConstructor. We've been through a lot of things. And during this time, we realized that, the true key here was the flexibility. And so I was, looking back and see what were kind of the key moments, or whatever, at least personally. Probably this will not be your story. It's my story. I don't want to go nostalgic here and depressive, but so I started this 2008, and I was very skeptical. Building a boat inside AutoCAD, get out of here. Like, it's not going to happen. So I was very, very skeptical. But then, after a week, I understand that I was just not, seeing the full picture. But I only realized, well, the first awareness of the flexibility came, after a week of training, and a lot of nights like that. We were left with a tool, right? That's it, now do it. And the modeling is okay, you just do the modeling, it's the fun part. And eventually I had to realize that I need to deliver the info. And in the training, we're not exactly going through outputs and stuff, so having to tackle that, and then understanding that we were actually inside AutoCAD. And, ShipConstructor was, just AutoCAD on steroids for me back then. Like, basically, you have everything that you have in ShipConstructor, but you have also AutoCAD. So that was the first awareness that I actually had combined two tools. So that's for Arthur. The next year we went into sort of a road trip and went, visit several of the clients, and multiple product hierarchies were the new thing. And we had all ideas of how to use this, but seeing this in action, and I think probably Arthur there is one of the guys that owns a lot of the spirit of what product hierarchies became. Technically, you guys are running the shipyard from product hierarchies, basically. So this was before PLM. You just invented your own PLM with this. So that opens a lot of possibilities. We kind of start thinking as another tool set. So this was something that we could just, use for the most strange and bizarre situations. Then came marine drafting, and then that opens also a big range of possibilities. Although in the beginning it felt like a little bit going back to old school, but then we came up with all these new ideas of how actually to enhance the existing 3D models with just some cuts and not exactly going back to full traditional cuts. The Automator. The Automator is the first name of the publisher, LT. So I'll talk a little bit more about this, because this was really another key change in the way that we perceive what we can do with this tool. And then, yes, the welds. I already gave you 20 minutes of dry mouths on welds, so what I think welds also changed a lot, because they really put a different direction to the kind of outputs. At least for certain workflows, it really pays off. And then, more recently, kind of the rediscovery of the 2D inputs. You were using ShipConstructor earlier and earlier in the project. And so we kind of assumed that we would need to somehow use ShipConstructor as a platform to manage drawings, no matter where the drawings were originated in the beginning. So I haven't elected what is the most recent thing. I think I need a few more years to look back and think what's happening right now that in 2 years I'll remember that this was like something. So I'll stop there, but new things are coming, and I'm quite sure in 2 years I can add another 2 lines there or something. So very briefly, I'll just talk about 2 things. So one is the usage of 2D drawings that were not produced in ShipConstructor and bring them into the project. So this is a test project already 3 or 4 years ago when you actually start thinking about this. And yeah, you're doing a concept, whatever tools you use, whatever makes sense for you, but eventually this will coalesce into some sort of drawings. And at that point, you need to start developing the project. And what we came up with is very simple, and probably everybody uses a version of this. That is, you actually explode those GAs, you explode those initial drawings, those profile and deck plans, those foundational drawings that, yes, maybe they were just done in AutoCAD, maybe they were just copy-paste of a previous boat, and you stretch a little bit and adjust. But then you make this part like a unit 0, you just push them around, and this will be used later for, reference, making sure that if now you need to change your GA, you're actually changing this in this version, in ShipConstructor. Yeah, it's a bummer. It takes a little bit more time to change that GA. But now you make sure that everybody that is using the GA as an arrangement drawing or the basis for showing something on top of this will have accurate info when you stop worrying about this. But now I want to talk about the automator because, we've been here for 3 days. Everybody hears about the publisher and moving away from the publisher, even going now deeper into the integration. And I wanted to share my story about how we come to love the BOM. Yeah. So most of the talk directly now to the publisher is saying, okay, it goes in a way of, automate something that you already have. If you are doing something 10 times in a row, let's try to do an operation out of that. But I wanted to change a little bit, consider that as a bonus on top of what you can really get. So I'd like to show you stuff that you could not have done it without this. So it's different. It's not, I can do it like this, but with the automator I do it faster. No, let's, and a real case study. So this was 2013. Chris Emerson gave us a lot of help in this back then. And so this was the issue. We had a shipyard. They were using another tool. They were okay for us to use whatever tool we wanted as long as we could, push some data into their own custom-made PLM or kind of ERP in-house tool. So of course he said yes, right? I had no idea how to fix it, but okay, yes, of course. Then we spent a full day with these guys, and it comes up that they put it simpler, like this is SQL-based, our software. We have 4 tables, and this is how you need to populate stuff for every block. Like, I need this. So we spent a nice full day trying to, exactly understand what the heck was that info that they needed. What is this? Oh, this is the name of the part. What is this? This is the page of the nesting page where that thing was nested. Or this is the quantity of parts that exist like that. So we come like trying to figure out a plan. We are not a software house, so technically what we are saying is that we could create a bridge between one software and the other. And we are a design office, like we don't really have programmers there. So what it came up was this, like every little square that you see here is a piece of data that I need to provide. So, sorry, it's in Portuguese, but yeah, bear with me. So, for instance, I don't know, this was the name of the ring. This is a code of the small assembly. This was the material. This was the length. This was the nesting location. So we first took an approach of, do we have this data actually inside of ShipConstructor? And so we see, well, even if we don't have it, we can create a space somewhere, a location to put this data in the software somehow. And then let's think about how to get the data out. So we saw that, well, for instance, we can create a product hierarchy of 4 levels. That was it. And we can use product hierarchy names. So this will be product hierarchy names. So that's it. These 4 things will be the name of the level of the product hierarchy, for instance. Then we say, well, there are a couple of things that only relate to that data. So I'm going to use UDAs attached to that. So there you go. Those are just UDAs. So great, done. Now we have no idea how to get this out, but okay, at least let's put it in. So the last thing is like, okay, next thing, well, this yellow, this is actually, they call it the mark. But for us, let's say this is the auto number. So we need to get the auto number, but just the auto number. It's not, not the full name, it's just the auto number. So well, okay, the auto number is there, should be able to get it. So scratch, done. So stuff like, okay, this is just the attributes of the stock. Like, is this a profile or is this a plate? That was one of the things. Okay, this is there also, so cool. This is just a stock attribute. So those are done. So those ones are part attributes. Like every part, they actually wanted to incorporate the sequence of building and the sequence of construction of that part. So this was painful because you already have the block ready, but I could not send anything to production before they agree with me how to build it. So, everything is ready, but I need to pass in the part, in the name, the sequence of production. So, okay. So a lot of those we needed to put in part attributes. So we just say, okay, this will be a part attribute. Every part will have a different code or something. Then I say, okay, this is normal part information, like what is the length, what is the height, what is the XYZ position of this. This is whatever ShipConstructor already has this, so it's there. And some stuff were kind of, they don't even know. So like there were 3 things here that in the end they didn't told us exactly what that is because it's such an old software that, so that was it, done. And some to be clarified that in the end we just, I exactly don't remember if those end up to be one of these, but let's say that after 1 or 2 weeks of going back and forth with this, we had the plan working. So the thing is, okay, I have all the info that you need inside ShipConstructor. How do I take it out? Yeah. So that was, and we panic, call Canada and say, we have a situation here. Like, I need to get this data out. I said, well, we have this new thing. It's just the Automator. It's a pretty cool name. Should I keep it? It looks like really badass. So first thing we say, okay, let's set product hierarchies. Let's define the UDA. So this is the basic, right? We have one product hierarchy with this, and we actually done this in the primary. This was just beta testing back then, so we've done this in the primary. Let's say, okay, we need blocks and groups and whatever. Those are the four levels of product hierarchy that we needed. Those were the things. This is just testing, putting something there. So a couple of parts, and so the data was there. So you say, well, Automator is a cool thing because it allows you to run a bill of materials on a product hierarchy without the drawing. Like, I just want to get the data. Because you can get a bill of materials out of an assembly drawing, right? You just go to a product hierarchy, generate the assembly drawing, and you get a bill of materials. But I don't want to be copy-pasting information for 20 pages or doing this in a report and digesting this, because I needed to make reference of this product hierarchy or this level relates to the previous one. Yeah. So we created this 5, 6 different bill of materials. They needed to be run into different levels of the product hierarchy. So if it is on the first level, I need to run this. If it is in the second level, I need to extract that info. In the third level, that info. If it is a part, I need this. So after that, we went to, well, call it publisher, but it was the Automator. You see, it's true. It's over there. And we needed to define the operations. Back then it was simple. We entered the XML file. We just copy the existing operations and just change the reference of the tables that we wanted to call. We used then something that was called grouping. That is, you can extract a full list of all the assemblies that exist in a unit, and then you filter. Say, select only those levels that are this rank. And for those levels, run this operation. Then for the next run this. So this was fairly automated, I could say. And then you get raw data. Right? That is. So for the first level of product hierarchy, you get something like this. For the second one, you get something like that. And the good thing is that, you see, you get the product hierarchy GUID and the parent GUID. So of course, if it's the first level, you don't really have the parent GUID of this. But after that, so I can actually relate this text with the previous text data, because I knew that this one, I just need to find this in the previous one, and I know that this was part of that. So some Excel magic, and we come up with this. Basically, we will recreate the data that we need to populate those access databases. It was a normal SQL, so we just open access, copy-pasted everything inside, and done. It was ready. So I wanted to show you an example, of something that I think I could not have done it without Publisher. So I'm not talking about automate batch printing something. I'm really saying that you are not a software house, and suddenly you are creating sort of a conversion tool between two softwares, and it's just a bunch of naval architects. There are no ITs really expertise. This tool, you have it now since 2013. That's it.